A new NFL strategy show Monday morning. Quarterback, we'll call it. We got some lessons for week 9. Some interesting takes from week 8. We'll see how it all played out. It's October 28th. I'm Dave Locker, and with me, as always, Manny Laura. And we're going to break it all down today, Manny. We're going to take a look at the winners. We actually know the guy. Good man, good fella that took down almost everything on DraftKings. And someone that actually tweeted at me yesterday saying, "Hey, Laffy, this is my biggest takedown yet. Thanks to you guys at Awesemo." I said, "Good job." And then someone tweeted him because he had won $10,000. Someone tweeted him. You know what? I'll get into it. It's insane. I wish he never tweeted this, because a good thing when you look at the results compared to someone else, say you maybe would have won something bigger if you just played it, would have changed his life. Manny, it's Monday, week 8, recap, week 9, look ahead. How we doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. My lineups were not doing that great yesterday, right? I thought I had built some pretty decent lineups yesterday, man. I thought I was in contention, was hovering around break even for I'd say 90% of the slate. I really don't know what happened at the very end. Well, I do. Tevin Coleman happened, but if we're just talking strictly the main slate, if you guys played on any other side that included the night game, then Aaron Jones probably messed that up too. But just timely big performances, really low on guys. And then if you somehow had the combination of Kupp, Evans, and Tevin Coleman, then the question is, how much did you win? Because that was the complete nuts yesterday. Fun week 8. Wish we were a little bit more on the greener side.
Yeah. Well, we keep fighting another day, do we not?
For sure.
Can I search a contest and just pull it up?
Yeah, what contest do you want? Well, not really. You just Control F.
Oh, okay. Just a simple Control F there. Okay.
Or find whatever it is on Mac or whatever.
Well, I wanted to show you something. Okay, so here we go. It was the 100K nickel. Okay, so
I see it. The 3 max?
Yeah. Where is it?
I mean, just sort by price point, go to 100K. It's there.
Okay. So the reason I want to show you this is because I want to take a look at the Millie Maker, and I want to take a look at, okay, so here we go. So we got the nickel. Now, I want to start with the Fantasy Football Millionaire, and we're going to go through the lineups here as we always do. Get a good look at what these guys did, what gave them the best lineup. So, Nam saying he's a good dude, man. I'm really happy for him. I'm pretty sure he took like 3rd in the Millie Maker a couple of years ago too. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did. I actually DM'd him today. You like to see good dudes win, and well, he's in really good shape. Let's see. Currently winning, is this from yesterday? Currently winning $1,107,000.
That sounds accurate, yes.
That sounds accurate. Unbelievable, right? So absolutely crushed, and congratulations to him. Now, going forward, he had 258.58 DraftKings points, okay? Looking at what we had here, Daniel Jones, Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray, when you talk about good chalk, was a guy that you just should have had a ton of, even if he was chalk. Tevin Coleman. Now, what's interesting is he was already towards the top before Tevin Coleman. Did you see what did second place have in this tournament?
Are you the Millie? He lost by 2 points, but it was they also had Latavius and Coleman. And everyone Coleman up here had Latavius Coleman.
Right, absolutely. So they also had Latavius and they had Coleman. So he had Daniel Jones, Latavius Murray, Tevin Coleman, Golden Tate, Kenny Golladay, Mike Evans, Evan Ingram, and DK Metcalf with the Patriots D. So the first thing that stands out, Manny, no Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, no, you didn't need him when you pick all the other great plays on the slate, right? I mean, I think the lowest performers in the lineup were actually his stack, right? Danny Jones obviously did well, but Golden Tate and Evan Ingram, didn't even reach 20 fantasy points. And combined, they got you 30 when there's guys in the lineup that had 45, right? Kenny Golladay had over 30. Obviously, Tevin Coleman and Latavius were huge. So it was just like the perfect fillers around a decent stack, but not the best one, I'd say.
I agree. Now, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, opponent. These are the stacks that I generally run. I know sometimes you'll go a little bit heavier, but I like setting it to quarterback with at least two of same team,
right?
Or running back, wide receiver, tight end, and then I'll set limitations on running backs. What you usually see there is you won't get more than two. Once in a while, you will. It will happen, but more times than not, you're getting quarterback and two of the players with him, and then run it back with at least one opponent. And when that happens, I usually only get one opponent, not two. I know you'll set it to more than that once in a while, but yeah, exposure here 119.6, 258.58. That's your Millie Maker winner. Now check this out. In the nickel, makes you sick. Now I'm saying, came in second to this guy right here, who tweeted Sal Vetri and myself and Osimo saying that this is the best win. Thank you. You're welcome. But, I mean, you did this, fella. But, Manny, he had 261.78. Had he put this in the Millie Maker, he is now a millionaire.
Wait, was that his only lineup?
His only, I believe. Well, let's see here. I thought so. Yeah.
I can. Yeah. That was.
Oh, no.
It was one of three lineups.
Okay. Still.
Yo, I'll give you the $60, dude. You have to throw that in there if you're playing three lineups, man.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, that's brutal. Listen, next time I'll hook you up. I'll give you not that you need it anymore, but
yeah, right.
$60, man. That's insane, dude. How do you live with yourself after that? That's probably the best lineup, I think, in every tournament, right? It has to be one of the best.
It's got to be, right? Well, I mean, we can always take a look. I think one of the easiest ways to do it is take a look at like the dollar ones or some of these, like the play action maybe. Let's see what won the play action. I wonder
the mini max always has like 1 million people.
Yeah, the mini max is another one that we get there.
Oh, mini max had 264. He would have been second in the mini max.
Okay,
still, bro, that's insane.
Second in the mini max. For some reason, it's just not loading for me. What about the play action?
I can check the play action for it. Is that the big
There's the 20 max $3 1.3 million prize.
Yeah. Okay, I'm loading it up right now.
Spinning on me.
I mean, well, because I think that's the biggest tournament on DraftKings every week, right? 500,000 entries.
Yeah, you're right.
It might be processing or something.
I mean, no, it's probably my computer. 267.
I got it. 267 was the highest. There were two at 267, one at 262, and then he would have been fourth.
He would have won 20 grand in that tournament.
He would have won 20 grand in that tournament.
Oh, man. And I honestly, like, if you're watching, listen, if you're watching now, man, I'm saying this to be serious. We talk about this. It's easy to look in hindsight and Monday morning quarterback these things. It's not like you knew that this was going to happen. Be happy with the $10,000 that you won. I'm serious. Like, I can't stress that enough. If you were playing low volume, say you only played like $20 on the entire slate and you won $10,000, dude, just be happy. It's still an awesome win. And I think this is something that you and I talk about it, Manny, because it's entertaining, right? But there's no doubt that $10,000 from like $20, and I think that was what he played, is an awesome come up.
Are you kidding me? That's insane. 10,000 from 1,000 is amazing, let alone $20. I mean, if that's really all he played, and I remember I got a message saying I was a 1v1 away from X amount or whatever. I still won 20K, but I'm depressed or whatever. Like I can't go to sleep or like, man, 10K is a lot of money, dude. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are, man. Like whoever says they don't need an extra 10K, you're a liar. And if you made it off $20, be happy, man. There's no reason to be sad. Go celebrate for sure. Do something. Go to your favorite restaurant, get your favorite food, and I don't know, just chill and vibe with a 10K in your pocket, man. There's no better feeling, especially when you didn't count on this at all. So no reason to feel down on yourself after a win like that.
You're damn right. Hey, check this out. Let's look at a couple more lineups. Always the fun part of the week when it's one of our guys. $1,500 entry, game changer, 156K, 40K to first. Ben Rasa, Jazz Raz,
baby.
second place, $25,000 with a Ryan Tannehill, Latavius Murray, Leonard Fournette. Mind you, single entry. So I get it. It's a small contest, 110 total entries, but still only one lineup. You hand make this. This is what you come up with. Tannehill, Murray, Fournette, Corey Davis, brutal. DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, Jonnu Smith, Kenny Golladay, and the Jaguars. So that is an awesome lineup, Ben. Congrats to you. Ben does the deeper dive with me or with Alex Baker and myself every Sunday. That's a pretty sweet lineup. The worst part is there was a quick whistle in that Tennessee game and the Tennessee and Tampa Bay game. There's a very good chance that he would have won this. And of course, the guy that passed him, he said, Ben at the time was like, I need to run pure with DeAndre Hopkins. Well, he did. Hopkins had a solid game. But of course, the guy that came in first place had Tevin Coleman flexed in at 2.7%. That was the dagger. That was the hammer in pretty much every lineup towards the end winning on this 4 p.m. slate, man. He made the difference on the slate and basically chased everyone down that was sitting in first place in any contest.
Yeah, for sure. Ben ended up losing by 4, and Tevin Coleman had 40. Mm-hmm. Like, if Tevin Coleman has 36, Ben still wins. You know what I mean? Like, he had to get to 40, and then obviously the Corey Davis shenanigans. Listen, Corey Davis, man, anything, dude. Catch an extra pass for 10 yards and something, run after catch, break attack, anything you want. But 2 points, 2.9? That's brutal. Granted, the guy up top had Sanu, who also had 4 fantasy points, but 4 is still more than the 3 Corey Davis had. So, again, you're not going to be mad. I hope Ben's not mad. Such a good guy, man. I love Ben, dude. Happy for him. I hope he's not pissed off. I know it kind of burns, but great showing, man. Very, very good line, especially in single entry to crack 200. By the way, no shame in saying it. That single entry was way more than any one of my 150s. Good job.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a great point.
That's way more than any one of my 150s.
Yeah, my best was 216.
Imagine.
220 on a single entry. Exactly. You're right. When people are like, oh, well, it's a single entry. All right. Well, guess what? He scored 220 points.
Yeah, I got 203 or 204 my highest. Yep. I did not come close to 220.
By the way, Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports is the sponsor of the NFL Strategy Show. If you haven't done so yet, head over to awesemo.com and click on the NFL tab. You'll see the NFL links right in there for any of the primetime shows or articles like the one tonight between Miami and Pittsburgh. And the link for Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports will be right there at the top. The article is free, and it's free to sign up, of course. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports gets you up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points upon depositing. And check out some of the great contests that they have going on every week with basketball in full swing. And, of course, the $250,000 NFL baller that they've been running out each and every week, $10 to enter, $25,000 to first. You now have CSV Edit on Yahoo as well, which makes it an even more appealing place to play if you wanted to get more entries in and not have to go up against the massive amount of sharks on DraftKings and FanDuel. Now, because of the CSV Edit, there will be some, but it won't be nearly as much. So check them out. We'll throw the link in YouTube chat as well. But if you want to do it now, go to awesemo.com, click on the NFL tab. First article you'll see is the primetime one. The link is right there at the top. Use Awesemo, AWESEMO, when you sign up through that link and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Start playing there today. They are the sponsor of the NFL Strategy Show. Okay, Manny, so here's what I want to do. Let's take a look at a contest that I think has, the best payouts here and obviously not easy to win. but a little bit more indicative of what things look like than the Millie Maker, where people are just going wild. So now I'm saying came second in the slant, another 30,000. Kuji, we'll call him, came in first place with 264 fantasy points and one lineup.
Insane. How do people do this? There is like an art to this, right? Where you can have a single entry and have really, extremely high upside lineups to where you're competing day in and day out. But to win a tournament of 62,000 entries with one lineup, I find just, man, that's really, really good. Fascinating, really. I don't know how people could even get there. Yeah, it looks like a pretty decent lineup, right? The Stafford, Latavius, everyone needed Latavius. I'm seeing in the chat the whole Latavius talk and how good of a play he was. He was a phenomenal play, but everyone knew he was a phenomenal play. He was the highest own on the entire slate, right? Like, you kind of needed him, but he didn't win you anything. It was just like a free square almost for everyone, right? If you were different, it's just because you wanted to get away from the field for whatever reason. You didn't think he was honestly a bad play or anything.
Right. Mike Evans, Jonnu Smith, and specifically Tevin Coleman won you something. Now,
correct.
I've mentioned this to you before. You couldn't win without Murray. I mean, maybe you could, but I guess you could if you had like Cooper Kupp, and you had Evans and you had Coleman. Like, it's possible, but winning without Murray would have been an uphill battle. But
for sure.
But winning because of Murray is a totally different thing than not winning because you faded him.
Like, Murray did not let you pass anyone to get into first. No way. That was definitely Coleman. It was definitely Evans. It was definitely Kupp, which were a fraction of the ownership Latavius was. Latavius was just, if you were up there, it's because you all had Latavius. Like, you all were in the same boat. That was not differentiating you at all.
I'll say this right now, though, man.
What happened?
I said I'll say this right now. Murray being only 45% is actually surprising to me.
Well, I mean, no one's ever going to get higher than that, right?
Nope,
like, the chalk of all chalk in NFL is always going to be at around, and this is like, someone that's severely underpriced because of an injury or whatever and is in a great spot, they're going to get all the work. They'll still be like 40% owned. They never get to like 50, 60, 70. In NFL, they won't, especially in tournaments where there's, 60,000, 100,000, 300,000 entries. Just never going to be that high owned. But yeah, another great lineup where you had Coleman, you had Latavius, you had Mike Evans, and then you pair him with even decent people around them, and yeah, you're setting yourself up for a big time score. And yeah, 264.18. That's a lot. It's a lot of points for a single entry lineup, man.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Chris just tweeted what was the high score in the Millie. I'm letting him know now he would have won it. I'm going to tell him, Chris, tune into our strategy show right now. We're breaking your lineup down. You should appreciate that. But like we both said, just be happy with what you have. A $10,000 come up is awesome. So here's my favorite part of the show.
Sure.
Like you said, the winner of the slant, Matt Stafford, 17%, Murray, 45%, Barkley, 18%, Brown, 10%, Galladay, 22%, Evans, 10% Evans was actually a little higher than I thought. I had some Evans, but I had a lot more Godwin. And it's so, you never know which one of these guys is going to come up with the monster game, right? Logan Ryan was solid on him, but he's been targeted a ton this year. Evans ended up being the big play. Jonnu Smith, 7%, Coleman, 3.8%, and Patriots, of course, 11%. 143, the 143 here, though, Manny, exposure sum, that it goes to show you that how many times do we have to say you don't need a full-out contrarian lineup to win. This guy had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys above 15%. Evans at 10, Jonnu at Coleman was the only guy that was super low owned, and he made the biggest difference of anyone in this lineup, along with Mike Evans, who was also one of his lowest owned, or one of the lowest owned players in the contest.
Yeah, for those that are just trying to take the whole contrarian thing to a new level and be like, I need all these 1%ers because that's what wins tournaments. I don't know what the fascination with that is, right? Like, why is everyone so enamored with the 1%ers? It just because they're 1% doesn't mean they're going to score more points, right? Or they get like I don't know, they get double the points that everyone like. It's just a player that just happens to be unowned. That's all it is. It's when you want to be unique, you can be unique without having to go to one percenters, right? Having a unique build altogether, right? Stacks we've already mentioned of how unique they are. Period. Game stacks even more. The more you add to your game stack, the more it's unique. And then if you all of a sudden throw in just one sub 5% owned player, you have a really, really different lineup without having to do much, really, and you didn't sacrifice, right? So if you game stack correctly, and even a 10%er, when everyone's playing 40% guys, 30 or 20% guys, a 10%er goes a long way to make you different in a tournament. It's not to say I just want to list, I just want the combination that together is going to give me 50 exposure sum or ownership sum. That's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Make the best lineup as long as it's unique, and you'll have a good shot at it. And I think people take it overboard with the 1%ers, really.
I agree. I had 19% Mike Evans, which, not bad.
I almost had 30.
Did you? Wow.
Yeah, I did, because I was really high on Winston.
So yeah. Oh God, that was something. I mean, those turnovers are
ridiculous,
crazy.
Man.
But yeah, you had almost 30%. I had 19%. But like I said, I had a lot of Chris Godwin. So
Right.
that didn't do what I needed it to do. But what can you do? You know what? You have some good weeks. You have some bad weeks. I had a slightly profitable week. But let's see. Of my Evans lineups, I had one with Cooper Kupp, right? One with Cooper Kupp.
That had to have been your highest lineup.
It was.
Evans, Kupp had to be.
26 with Latavius Murray, but that's because I had a ridiculous amount of Latavius. Quarterbacks, I had, of course, most of it with Jameis, a little bit with Tannehill, Deshaun Watson, and then with tight ends, with Jonnu Smith, I had 5 with Jonnu Smith. So I had some chances, Manny. I had some chances there to put together some really great lineups, but I also took a stand on a cheap Corey Davis against the terrible Tampa Bay team. And 19 of those Mike Evans lineups, of course, running the stack back, came with Corey Davis in it, and that sucked.
Yeah, for me, that was the dagger in my lineups. Really, it was. I run game stacks. I had a lot of Jameis, had a lot of Mike Evans, and then I ran it back with a combination of actually either one of Corey Davis, who didn't do anything, AJ Brown didn't get 10 points even with the touchdown, and then Derrick Henry, apart from one big run, didn't do anything the entire game. So either one, it didn't matter who you picked from that side, didn't do anything. And somehow Tampa still lost the game. I don't understand how.
Exactly. And I also, by the way, had no Tevin Coleman, so that didn't help.
Did you correct. I had 0 Tevin Coleman.
Yeah. You know what? Some days, some weeks, for you guys watching, like some weeks, you're going to be the person that has that Tevin Coleman player, and it's going to work. And other weeks, you're not going to be. And you like the last thing you want to do is go back and figure out how in the world you ended with no Tevin Coleman. Like, maybe it just wasn't going to get there. I even went back and I like sorted lineups by leverage score, and still didn't get a lot of him. So, with my projections, it just wasn't going to happen.
Right. I had a DM this morning when I woke up, and for those of you grinding at like 6 a.m., dude, power to you guys. You guys are really dedicated. I had a DM this morning said, I spent 45 minutes in rewind and I still can't get Tevin Coleman.
Right.
I'm like, dude, I mean, either I don't know how. It's tough, man. I when someone at 3% or 2%, whatever he was, goes off for, a slate breaking score, don't try to hindsight it, right? Like, if that just wasn't your play, it wasn't your play. It wasn't mine either. And I'm not trying to sit here. All right, I got to find out. My process is a fraud. This does not work. My process has a hole in it because I didn't get any Tevin Coleman. No, that's not how you should look at that. It was one of those plays that the people took a leap of faith, ended up getting there, and that's all. That's really it.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. All right, like I said, we'll have some fun here. for all of you guys watching, we can see what his exposures were. Now I'm saying in the fantasy football millionaire maker. Again, congrats to you, dude. Just an awesome, awesome day, especially when you're taking down everything, right? And by the way, he's a very good player to begin with.
Right.
This one, like, and when you look at this lineup, by the way, you know how a lot of times we'll look at top lineups and say, how did that happen? Like,
Right.
Tevin Coleman was low owned, but it wasn't a bad contrarian play. It wasn't stupid because we just know the amount of opportunities he's been getting at 5K. Right. It made sense. Like, Tevin Coleman's workload has been pretty significant, right? So there's definitely differentiation there when we're talking about a low-owned guy that you're playing just because you think it's a good idea, that he's totally low-owned but don't really have much reasoning for that. And then someone else like Tevin Coleman, who I'm pulling this up right now, Manny. Tevin Coleman game log since returning from injury, 16 carries, 18, 20. So that's great. The amazing thing is, and you and I discussed this yesterday on Awesemo Radio. Check that out on demand on the SiriusXM app, by the way, Sirius 210 XM87, and check it out just by searching Awesemo Radio or Dave Locker and Manny Laura. You'll find us on the app. We appreciate all of your support. Saturday and Sunday, 5 to 7 p.m. Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. But we mentioned this yesterday. 13 total touches, 4 touchdowns, and 121 or 118 yards, Manny, on 13 touches.
That's crazy. I mean, it reminds me of that Hollywood Brown performance in week 1, right? Like,
how he run like 18 snaps or something, right?
Yeah, it's not even touches. That one was even worse. It was 14, 15 snaps altogether. And then in like 4 catches, he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns. It was dumb. It was in this one, it was one of those, right, where the holes were just massive. It really didn't even matter who was the running back. He just happened to be the running back on all 4 of those carries, or 3 of those carries, and then 1 of the passes. And it was just, he's in space. He's a really, really good back, man. And he had the opportunity yesterday and obviously took advantage. So it's one of those where, again, I'd say for the listeners, don't beat yourself up. I'm not beating myself up for it, right? I didn't have any Tevin Coleman. I'm not sitting here, trying to figure out what I did wrong. Why didn't I get any Tevin Coleman? It was my mistake. I mean, I just couldn't get there. I don't think there was a way I could have gotten there. And I'm not going to sit here trying to hindsight it. I couldn't get there. That was my thing.
I said the same thing about what I'm about to say last week. I said the same thing last week about what I'm about to say now.
Sure.
Rephrase that a little bit. When you look at ownership exposure here, 98% Latavius Murray. If there's a guy that's in an excellent spot, you play him. And you know what? He's still got over the field by like 50%.
Yep.
Okay? Latavius Murray, 97.5%. He only played 40 entries, huh? He didn't max it. Yeah.
Nope.
So he played 40 entries and 39 of them were Latavius Murray. I get it. I would have done the same thing. 8 Tevin Coleman lineup. So he definitely did like Coleman. This wasn't just a one-off of 40 lineups, Manny. 8 of 40, 20%, 4th highest owned running back. Props, man. But check this out. Of the 40 lineups, he only had, 9 running backs? 9 running backs and 98% Latavius Murray.
My goodness.
68% Mike Evans.
You couple that with obviously Tevin Coleman being one of them. He played Mike Evans, is that what he said?
There's 2 highest exposed players were 98% Latavius Murray and 68% Mike Evans.
Come on, man. Like, give me the time machine for 1 week. It's all I ask for, man. Just 1 week. Give me that time machine for 1 week, please. I think eventually I'm going to start running good, right? And I'll be able to say, you know what? I had 88% Tevin Coleman, brother. I had 90% Mike Evans, and Cooper Kupp was the only person I locked on the slate. One day it's going to happen to where I am going to have 1st through 10 in everything you see in the DK lobby. I just need that time machine for a second. Let me hold that time machine, brother. That's crazy to have that much Mike Evans.
I hear you, but you know what? Sometimes when you feel like a guy is just in that spot, And, I feel like right now with how competitive DFS is and how the edge is not what it used to be, one of the ways to put yourself in a position to win, but also a position to have some really bad weeks, because Mike Evans is a very boomer bust player. But the way to do that is have a really tight core, because when you do, then what's going to happen is that one or two Tevin Coleman lineups is going to be with Latavius and be with Mike Evans, because they're in every lineup. So, you see it, 38% Jameis Winston, he had 8 Coleman lineups out of 20, but you know what? They're going to end up in those Evans lineups, and they're going to end up in those lineups with Latavius Murray, because there's so much of that. 18 Evan Ingram. If he had 10% Jonnu Smith, and let's see, Tevin Coleman was in the winning lineup, huh? Or I'm sorry, Evan Ingram, not Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, I think, because the gap in tight ends wasn't huge, right?
No, I just meant because salary was so different.
Right. It was a salary thing. Like point per dollar, obviously Jonnu Smith was way better. But as long as you had some of the heavy hitters up there, man, I don't think it really mattered that much, man. Like Tevin, just these scores. Did anyone have the perfect combination, right? Obviously not, because we do the perfect lineup every week on.
Do you want to do it?
Awesome Radio, but we can, but did anyone have like Cup, Evans, Coleman, and Latavius all together?
It's funny.
That alone must be ridiculous.
It's funny. I did in a lineup, but not Coleman. I had Latavius, Cup, and Evans with Corey Davis.
I'm gonna check if someone had this. Are you kidding me? You can't get better than that.
While we pull it up,
yeah,
let's take a look, as we always do, at the DraftKings and Yahoo perfect lineups. You know what? And once again, see how crazy or far off it was. I think actually this week was the most believable, right? The most believable compared to some other lineups. So we had 302. And you can find this at linestarapp.com if you guys want to look this stuff up on your own. It's kind of neat to see what the top lineups were. Daniel Jones, I don't have an issue with that. Latavius Murray, of course, a top option here. David Montgomery is one we can jump into. Cooper Kupp, 7 for 580. The rest of the team did absolutely nothing. Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, really liked Golladay yesterday. Ryan Griffin, Tevin Coleman, and the Patriots. So looking at all of this, David Montgomery, I actually had some of, just because of how cheap he was. Let me see. I'm going to tell you how much David Montgomery I had right now.
Did you say Ryan Griffin in that lineup?
Ryan Griffin, yes.
Are you joking me?
I am dead serious, friend. That's the one that obviously doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you know what? There it is. Of course, this wasn't a lineup that was played, for anyone that's wondering.
No, of course. But dude, football, man. How on earth, dude?
I had, oh, wow. It looks like, so I finished, my last crunch came out with way less Montgomery. I had 12% Montgomery before injury news and stuff. Ended up having only 1.5% Montgomery. So,
by the way, I looked up who had the combination of Latavius, Coleman, Evans, and Kupp, and I did this in the slant. It has 62,760 entries. There were 2 people who had that,
and
just 2,
and they didn't win. You're saying
they didn't win? One got 7th, the other one got 30th.
Get out of here! Really?
The only 2 cats. And to be honest, how did this not win? He also had Goff as his quarterback, who had 26.
What?
Stills had 5.
All right, I'm going to pull it up right now because, well, first of all, the guy that won it, his lowest score, let's take a look at that. His lowest score, well, it was a 9 from A.J. Brown.
Okay, so Stills' 5 is worse.
Right, but this guy finished, hold on, who was it?
Number 7.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The 7th player.
Yeah.
Jal, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so let's check it out. Goff, Murray, Gurley.
Okay, I didn't see that one. Yeah, you're right.
Kupp, Stills, Evans, Jonnu Smith, Tevin Coleman. Oh my God, he did have it.
That's crazy.
He had 15 from his D. So He had 40 from Tevin. He had 46 from Evans. He had 38 from Kupp and 39.7 from Latavius Murray. Oh my God, that is brutal, man. That
Gurley
is just
and
brutal.
Kenny Stills combined for 15.
Oh man. And you know what's kind of weird here? He played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, didn't run it back with anybody, which, I mean, I probably wouldn't have if I were you, but it's strange. I'm a little bit confused by the Gurley and Goff pairing, only because
I would not do that.
Gurley
I think
just hasn't been involved in the passing game at all. So I guess you're hoping that like he rushes for 2 touchdowns and Goff throws for 3, but that's just hard to try and perfect each week.
Yeah, you're asking for a lot of production, right? If you could ask for less production but equal or higher value or higher fantasy points, that's essentially what you want, right? Like Goff to Kupp, and then if you wanted to play someone else, play a pass catcher, right? You don't play Gurley. Gurley scores 2 touchdowns because for Gurley to be relevant in tournaments and to win you something, he also has to score 20 to 25, right?
Right.
And he pretty much is only going to do that through the ground unless, I think 1 week this year he had a receiving touchdown or 2 maybe. And maybe a week like that, sure. But yeah, that's a rough pick there. I don't think I agree with that.
I think the only time we saw it really work this season among guys that wouldn't be like Bridgewater, Kamara, was Matt Ryan, Devonta Freeman. But that's because Freeman had 2 receiving touchdowns.
Correct. Well, yesterday, Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers in that night game.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was
Didn't
thinking
he have like
about
150 receiving yards?
I was thinking about the main slate, but yes,
You're right. Main slate, I think you're
right.
You're right with that,
but I mean, outside of a showdown, I mean, to me, stacking Aaron Rodgers with Aaron Jones on a weekly basis is still not the wisest of decisions.
Agreed. Jamal Williams also caught a touchdown, not even rushed for a touchdown in that game. Like it was just so weird. Everything, like the receivers were just like non-existent. I don't. Whatever.
His second lineup, just to see how much different he tried to get: Breeze, Edmonds, Murray, Christian Kirk. So, oh wow, that is weird. I guess now quarterback. Yeah, quarterback. He did it again. Running back with the quarterback and wide receiver plus 2 of the opposition. Now, I understand this, and I said I had no problem. Breeze, Murray, and Thomas is perfectly fine because there are only really 2 options on this team. But you have to always think about it. Like just because Latavius Murray has 9 receptions doesn't mean it helps Breeze at all. And we see that with guys like Fournette and many others where, sure, you might have 9 or 10 targets as a running back, but it's such short yardage that it doesn't help your running back or your quarterback. So I would have been okay playing Murray and Thomas even without Breeze yesterday in the same lineup.
Yeah, I talked about that in the morning yesterday, and I was on the fence only because, Latavius's price was up there at around $6K, and then obviously Michael Thomas was the most expensive. So to both reach tournament winning value, I thought they had to score a lot of points as a offense altogether, and then just have it be concentrated between them 2. I was willing to bank on that not being the case, and obviously it kind of bit me a little bit to where they did literally everything. No one else did absolutely anything in my team. So if it worked out like that, then yeah, you were great. I thought both of them were great plays. Just how much of both of them together did I want? I was not too high on that, but yeah, no, it worked out if you did it perfectly.
So Ponta, I know this guy, came in 30th. He had a nice showing.
He's the other one.
Yeah, he had a nice showing yesterday. Goff, Latavius, Coleman, Kupp, Evans. So if I'm just showing you that part of the lineup, you're like, oh my God, he won everything, right?
Yeah, those are the 2 guys that played that combination.
I know, that's why I pulled it up.
Right.
If I showed you that, you'd be like, he won everything. And then you got a 12 from Boyd, Jalen Ramsey treatment. I think he saw a decent amount of Ramsey. Didn't watch the entire game. Gerald Everett with 3, Sonny Michel with 7. Even the Niners had 17. So, I mean, it just goes to show you how perfect things need to be.
You have to be perfect, man. And it's you get one or 2 bad games, it's over.
Yeah.
Forget it. You're not even close.
He had 38 fantasy points or more from 4 players and still didn't even crack the top 20.
That's insane. I mean, there's so many entries. It feels like you got to be perfect in all of these. That's what I'm saying. Like, for those of you that play the Millie or even the Slant or one of these big tournaments, the Mini Max, like, you're going to be in that top 20 situation. And I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but maybe like once in your DFS career. Like, it's really, really difficult to be in there twice or 3 times, Like, you have to be on another level, not just with talent or skill, but then also luck being on your side to get there. And it's you put yourself in good spots. Sure, you'll get there, but to get there multiple times, it's so difficult. So I hope it goes your way once you have something like this. Because like, when's the next time you'll have the nuts exactly like this?
Right.
Murray, Coleman, Cup, Evans,
right.
or the equivalent on any other slate. It's really, really tough to get there. So hopefully, if you do, hopefully everything else around it also goes your way. In his case, it didn't.
I'll tell you what's kind of crazy, though. Still doing screen share here with you guys so we can all look at the same thing at the same time. You look at the play action where it's only 20 max. Look at the guys that came in the top 10. 1 entry, 2 entries. This guy maxed with 20, but 5 entries, 7, 2, 3, 3, 8. Like, all at the top here, you've got guys with like 5 or fewer lineups, and the player that won it only had $200,000. Imagine that, 515,000 entries, 500,000 entries, and this guy wins it with one of his 2 lineups.
Can you imagine? 267.
Did he
and the second place guy also scored 267, also with 2 lineups.
Okay, so here it is. Here is as close to your perfect lineup as you're getting, Manny. Ready? Sure. Stafford, Murray, Coleman, Cup, Golladay, Evans. That's 5 guys above 30. Jonnu Smith, best tight end play at that price. Chris Carson, 15. Seahawks with 9. So his last 2 were just okay, but there you have it. He had Evans, Cup, Coleman, and Murray with Kenny Golladay and Jared Goff, or Matt Stafford.
My goodness. And dude, the guy who got second place, by the way, also 267, he just scored half a point less. It's like, you feel like you have the nuts.
Oh, he did.
Look at that lineup.
He would have won everything.
Look at that lineup.
Breeze, Murray, Coleman, Golladay, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, Fells.
Darren Fells was even better than Jonnu Smith. How does that
not win? Oh my God. No Cup, right?
Wait, he ran double tight end. Oh, dude. He ran Hooper in that same lineup.
He ran double tight end and got a 24 from Darren Fells. I forgot Jonnu Smith wasn't the best one. It was Darren Fells.
That's so crazy.
Unbelievable, man. Imagine not winning everything with this lineup. Seriously, just imagine having this lineup and not coming in first place. 29.
Dude, that's a 50K difference.
29, 40, 41, 32, 30, 46, 24 from your tight end, 19 and 7. My God, what do you do? What do you do?
You tell me I scored 267 point whatever. I'm like, wow, how much what are you going to do with the million? Nah. What are you going to do with the 100K? Nah. What are you gonna do with? No, I got second place. What?
Unbelievable. And he played 2 entries in it. Like, I'm telling you, this guy, you can usually tell. He didn't enter the Millie Maker. Did he even enter the slant? No, right? No.
No, I don't think so. No.
I mean, how cool of a story is this, though? I don't know him. I have no idea who this is. But he had $6 in this. He probably played what, $10 on the week and won 100,000. The guy below him, 2 entries. He wasn't in anything else. These guys had a combined $12 in play and won 150,000.
My goodness. Can I mean, listen, if you're going to use a time machine, right? Because these guys are clearly using time machine. Go use it on the lotto and win like 300 million or so. Go use it on the Powerball when it comes out. Why are you going to spend it on 100K DFS? Jeez, man. I feel like time machine, you can't use them that many times. Why use it on a on a 3-entry max. I'm like, what? I'd go use it on the lotto, man.
I hear you, my man. I hear you. What are you going to do? Congrats to them, though. That's really awesome.
For sure.
Anything else you want to talk about here while we're here? Anything you saw interesting from yesterday? Any adjustments, improvements we can take into week 9?
Just kind of when analyzing, really, it's not trying to hindsight. I know a lot of us are going to try the whole Tevin Coleman. That, I mean, if you didn't get there, you didn't get there. And I think you were okay. Like, again, studying some of the top players in the industry, most of them didn't even have Tevin Coleman, right? And it's not a knock on the process per se, because a lot of us are going to beat ourselves up during the week. I know it's a whole week before we get another NFL slate, but we're going to sit here wondering how we didn't get him, how we didn't get more of Mike Evans, how we didn't get Mike Evans, Kupp, Tevin Coleman, and Murray in the same lineup. I just told you guys, right? It was only 2 lineups in that entire slant that did that. So we're hindsighting big time right now, and that's not really how we should research, how we should really analyze our lineups and grade our week. It's really on, did we make mistakes at all? Was correlation okay? Were the plays, whether we faded or just rode the chalk, was that fine? Like, things like that are what we should take going forward, and then just try to give ourselves the best chance to win next week. It's all we can do, and it's not really about why didn't I get Coleman? I mean, you're going to beat yourself up to death doing that.
Yep. And Skylar Cairns asks, Laffy, can you all talk about Todd Gurley and where to go from here with that guy? It's a good question, man. Manny and I discussed this on Sirius last night at length. And I think Manny's point was a salient one, basically. And if you guys have any questions, we got a few minutes, throw them in the chat. You want us to take a quick look at anything that won't take long, or you have questions about strategy or everything going forward, hit us up. We got a few minutes here. But Manny, you had said, even in games where they get ahead, you would love that because they're using Gurley to ice the clock, except they're not. They're not running the clock down with Gurley. They're yanking him as soon as they get a lead. So unless this game's competitive against a bad run defense, at this point, man, Gurley is going to struggle. And truthfully, I had a decent amount of Gurley. I thought this could be the game where he finally turns it around. Outside of that touchdown, he was a colossal disappointment again. I hope it's not like Joe Mixon where he ends up being decent after we say it's a wrap. But I don't know how you can place any faith in Gurley until his price comes down significantly from where it was yesterday.
Yeah, remember I said on air, I'll even say this, and I don't even know if it's a hot take, but we'll consider it one. I said Gurley will not have a 100-yard game this season. He hasn't had one so far halfway through, but the thing is, for me, he doesn't even get the opportunity to have 100-yard games, right? And it's exactly what we said yesterday. It's as soon as they have even a 1-touchdown lead, he's out of the game for Henderson or Malcolm Brown or whoever's going to be behind him. They don't even let him, kill clock or anything. They don't let him ice games. They don't let him do anything. As soon as they have the lead, and if it's 7 or 10 points, he's out of the game. And then it was Henderson pretty much the entire second half. He didn't see anything. I mean, if all you're going to give him is carries when the game is, 0-0 or 7-0 or 7-3, sure. But what happens when the game is 21-10?
Right.
That's it. Gurley's done for the game. I mean, there's not even upside in Gurley right now. And if you want to play him for the 15, 17 fantasy points he'll give you on the high side, sure. But if he's out of the game almost immediately with a lead, I mean, it's almost useless even playing him, really. And
Timothy says it's not even that complicated. His line sucks now. Yeah, his line sucks. But if they get to a blowout score, if they get to where they need to be without Gurley, you're not even getting Todd Gurley in the second half. You're not even getting him towards the end of the game. So, yeah, the line is certainly a problem. We've talked about that. But, Manny, you're also looking at a team and a player where he's not even getting the chances late in the game. And he had 10 carries yesterday. I'm pretty sure Darrell Henderson had 11.
Yeah, we checked that Darrell Henderson had 11, but it's the line isn't good. I think you're totally right. But if even on 10 carries, maybe 15 carries, he's still some weeks giving you 12, 19, 26, 15 fantasy points. Imagine what he can do in the last quarter and a half of the game where he might get an extra touchdown. Like, you might have multiple 20-point performances from Gurley. And yeah, it might not be yards or whatever, but if he keeps getting in the end zone at the rate he is, because look at this, he doesn't play much of any game. He doesn't have a 100-yard game this season, but on the season, he has 5, 6, 7 touchdowns. He scored his 7th touchdown yesterday. I mean, he's efficient when he's in, right? Granted, the yards per carry, if that's what you're looking at, aren't great. With that line, you guys were totally right. That line isn't good enough for him to have a monster season. But just on touchdowns alone, because the offense is so good, he'll have a pretty decent season, and you'll be okay with Todd Gurley. The problem is he's just not even playing. So, yeah, it's just frustrating. I don't think he gets 100 yards, period. If he almost had it in week 1. Outside of that, he hasn't even gotten to 75 yards this season. So, yeah, it's tough to play him right now.
And by the way, just going to throw this out there, take it for what it's worth. But this season, the Rams rank 9th in second level rating, meaning plays that get their running back. I'm talking about the offensive line, that get their running back to the second level. They're 9th there. In adjusted line yards, the Rams rank 10th. Let's see here. They've been stuffed a ton, but if you're basing it, and there's a lot of different ways we can go off of this, so I'm just using one. But if you're using Football Outsiders metrics for a lot of this, it actually hasn't been as bad as it's made out to be. Let's see. Pro Football Focus has them. So Pro Football Focus has them towards the bottom in run blocking. It's a bad line, no question. But let me leave it at this: 1, his usage, and number 2, Gurley's just not the same back that he was before. Even if you had that same line, he's not the same explosive back that he was before. So I don't know. I feel like at this point,
he was on the sideline while Henderson was getting all the work at the end. He was on the sideline with trainers looking at his knee. I mean, that should tell you everything. They're not going to play him at all. And if they have a lead, they won't even risk him whatsoever. So.
Oh, and can we maybe point out the fact that the Bengals are allowing 200+ rushing yards every damn game? So blocking or not, you're telling me you can't produce against them?
Yeah, it's for me, it's just purely a volume thing. They're not gonna overextend him whatsoever. Not even give him one extra carry than he has to get.
Awesemo.com/join is where you can get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus subscription. Check this out real quick. Look, we got Awesemo.com/join. All right. You go there and say a very simple way to get a good idea of what you'd be getting if you wanted to try it out. Now, first of all, if you scroll down, Alex Baker, of course, Awesemo himself, #1 ranked player in the world, shows you how to use the player projections, the ownership projections, the lineup builder, the top stacks tool, premium site, all of that stuff before you join, so you know what you're getting. If you click start membership here at the top of the page, ask you what type of player you are as well, so you don't get too much more than you need, and you don't get too little, not enough. So we want this to be catered to your playing style, and that's what's great about it. Ownership, player projections, so much more. And Manny, of course, we have the Fantasy Cruncher add-on. Just before we head out, explain what Fantasy Cruncher does and how it helps even the casual player and the most serious NBA or NFL, MLB, any player.
Right. So we always talk about running multiple lineups in tournaments. If you want to diversify a little bit more, make a safer investment than just putting all your money on one lineup, you can learn little by little how to input more lineups. And the way the pros do it, the way Awesemo does it, the way most of the top guys all do it today is using Fantasy Cruncher. Fantasy Cruncher is an optimizer where with your projections, your settings, it'll create tons of lineups for you rather efficiently. And that way you can enter, as many tournaments, as many lineups as you want. You can start off with as little as 25 cents on all of these sites, and you could still put in 100, 150 lineups if you wanted to into all of these. So if you would like to take your game to the next level and say, take it a little bit more than just casual play, then FC would be your best bet, and you can get it through Awesemo.
All right. Butch, before we head out, asks, would any of you drop Dak Prescott for Jameis Winston? I mean,
That's tough. I think they're like the same rest of season, to be honest.
Yeah, I would take a look at schedules. Schedules are going to play a huge role coming up now that we have a good idea of what these teams look like. That'll do it for us. Thanks for hanging out as always. We love you guys. Hit us with that thumbs up. Like the video if you enjoy it, you want to see more, and help support us so we can keep putting free content out on youtube.com/awesemo. Subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, so you always know when content's dropping next. Thanks as always for hanging out with us. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Sal Vetri and myself taking a first look at week 9. Good luck tonight. NBA, NFL, and Manny, they can find you at twitch.tv/mlaura, correct?
You got it, boss.
There you have it. We'll see you guys soon. Manny and I'll be back with you next Monday.